Tip number 7 in our series of how to get more out of your kickboxing class is going to be to pivot your planted foot and turn your hips whenever you're throwing a kick from the rear leg. That means simply this: when you're facing the bag, a lot of students will keep their front foot pointing towards the bag while they kick with this back leg, so their kick looks like this. Okay, so the kick is traveling pretty much on an upward angle. It is almost like it's glancing alongside of the bag and it just barely comes in. So the part of the foot and the leg that ends up hitting is the inside of the ankle. And that's really not how you want your kicks to work. It's not going to engage your core as much, and it's not going to engage your hips. So what you want to think about is taking that front foot and you want to turn it 90 degrees over to the side. Okay, so again, that front foot turns 90 degrees over to the side. So if I'm facing the bag like this, I want to take that front foot, my pivot foot, and it's going to twist to the side. Notice how that turns my hips and that turns my shoulders in towards the bag. When I end up throwing the kick, my rear shoulder is actually going to be pointing at the bag. So that front foot pivots and turns, the shoulder turns, the hip turns, I lift my knee, and I snap, and the kick goes into the bag. Okay? So again, that front foot pivots and turns, the hips turn, the shoulders turn. That's going to let me generate a lot more power on my kick. You can see the difference here. Here's that first kick I showed you without the foot turn. Here's the second kick with the foot turn. Right? Makes a big, big difference. Right? You get more power in the kick, and of course you're using the hips and the core more, which is going to burn more calories. Okay? So tip number 7, turn the pivot foot, turn that front foot, turn the hips, turn the shoulders, right, to generate more power for your kicks. I'm going to add a couple of quick little things to number 7 that I kind of left out. I talked about when people do the kick incorrectly that they're kicking with the inside of the ankle, right, and the inside of the calf, right, when they throw the kick incorrectly. But I didn't stress the proper surface to hit with when you're throwing this kick. And the proper thing to hit with is going to be the instep and the shin. Right, that's where you want to hit. You don't want to hit with the small bones down towards the bottom of the foot and the toes. You want to hit up here with the instep and the shin. All right, and the angle of the kick should be a really shallow angle coming up, or it should be driving straight in. Okay, so when I turn the kick and I turn that shoulder and I lift and I bend that knee, I'm either coming at just barely an upward angle, or I'm coming straight across when I land that kick. So keep that in mind. The other point I wanted to make was that when you pivot your foot, okay? I'm kind of over dramatizing it here when I show you how this works, and I'm pivoting on my heel. When you're first learning, that's the way you're going to want to do it. Turn on the heel and turn to the outside and get used to the motion. As you get good at it though, you're going to use the momentum of the hip and the shoulder turn to actually pivot on the ball of your foot. So when you throw the kick quickly, it's not going to be so much on the heel. If you'll kind of watch and pay attention to what my foot does here, when I throw the kick, you'll notice I actually come up on the ball of my foot as I twist into the kick. So while you're learning, it's okay to go ahead and pivot on that heel, but as you get better and you get more momentum, you want to start thinking about coming up on the ball of the foot. And notice how my foot actually ends up pointing behind me when I get the full twist. So if any of that confuses you at all, or you're having trouble, don't hesitate to grab me before, during, or after class, and I'll help you clarify a little bit more on the proper way to kick.